Hi everyone. Thank you for joining USPK in our community meeting. This meeting will focus on steps that USPK is taking to address safety policy gaps that will help safeguard our community that we love and to protect all of our practitioners. While we will not have an open forum for this particular meeting, we encourage you to submit your feedback at the Jotform link provided in the chat. This link and video will also be provided in a follow-up email. We will review the feedback in our newly created safety task force, headed by one of our board members, Brandy Jean. This feedback form is also a place where you can express interest in joining that task force as well. It takes a community, and we are so happy and empowered that we can build a culture of safety and empowerment together. To start off, USPK is the United States Parkour Association, and our mission is to advance the growth and development of parkour in the United States through advocacy, education, community, and governance. We're a nonprofit organization overseen by a board of elected and appointed volunteer directors composed of community members and industry experts. I wanted to introduce the current members of the board. My name is Ann Huang. I'm the board chair. We have Mel McQueen, our vice chair, Danny Fitchett, our treasurer, followed by Emily Fleet, Blake Evett, Brandy Jean, Adam Cozy, Devin Straley, and Alan Tran. I'm going to go ahead and pass it off to Mel for this next bit.
In our community. Safety is something we talk about all the time in regards to while you're training, let's, make sure we're training safely, but it extends so far past that. And it's something I'm especially passionate about, not only as a mom of athletes, but as a classroom teacher for 20 years and a former regional coordinator for USA Climbing, who has been through similar things. So it was important as we're trying to deal with the horrific things Callum did. How do we, as a community, work together to make the community safer for everyone involved? We can go on to the next one. So, to start with what USPK was already doing, and I know Alan can testify, the growth and the resources that we've added since the beginning of USPK has been amazing, but we're constantly looking to grow and improve. So we already had, and we've become aware that not enough people knew about this, so we're going to be working harder to promote it to the community. But on our website, if you go to the About section and go to safety, we already had a page about community safety. And we also have if you go to the next slide for me, Ian. Oh, back one. Yep. We had a reporting device where people can report misconduct in, it's primarily related to USPK events. Obviously, there's only so far that our scope goes, but we want people to bring things that are happening as safety concerns in the community to us. The misconduct reports go specifically to an email that is monitored by Alan and Ann. They are the team that reviews those and looks into it. And we have received several over the years that have been investigated and have gone to bigger results. As I said at the beginning, one of the things we've become aware of as we've been looking back over the last 2 weeks is that not enough people were aware of this resource and that they had the opportunity to report things to us. So we are going to be looking for adding that on the bottom of every page on our website. In addition, adding it to our email signatures and as a link in our link tree on our Instagram page, just trying to make more of our members aware and by members, I don't just mean USPK members, but community members aware that this resource is there for them. This is free. You have the right to remain anonymous. The important thing to note is this does not replace the police action if there is a crime being committed. We're not police officers. We can't run investigations, arrest people. So if it is event that is also illegal, it is really important that you get in touch with your local investigators, police department. In addition, we're going to talk about the reporting things through Safe Sport. So if you go on to the next slide. Um, so in March of 2017, the U.S. Center for Safe Sport was organized as a nonprofit by Congress to combat sexual abuse, emotional abuse, bullying, and harassment within the U.S. Olympic and Paralympic movement. So since then, they have been growing and developing several branches. One is that they are an organization you can report concerns about, especially within the sexual and emotional abuse of athletes. Um, it is a great resource. We are aware that we've spoken with several people who have filed reports in the past, and we've heard about really satisfying good results, but we've also heard some frustration that maybe they aren't that fast and acting. But it is a good starting place, and they are an official body who can investigate these issues. Um, it also, by filing a report there, creates a record that within the sporting community that this was filed there. Okay, if you want to go on to the next one, Anne. Other resources that we're going to be putting on our page and making available, we learned about in a really helpful meeting yesterday with an advocate. So RAIN is the National Anti-Sexual Violence Organization, and they offer a hotline to support survivors and many resources for survivors, advocates, community members who want to be allies. We've got down at the bottom there the website. You can go on there to seek assistance. It's 24 hours a day. They have a hotline we've got there, and you can also text to communicate with them. Um, they are not a reporting branch who will report it to the police, but they can offer you and talk you through the resources and give you support when dealing with these issues. The other one is the Trevor Project. The Trevor Project is specifically focused on LGBTQ plus young people and has got a wealth. So it's also got online chat, phone, and text where people can seek support if they are having troubles related to sexual violence, etc. So, two really good resources for especially if you are trying to work through, I don't even know where to start. I just need somebody to support me right now and listen. So, we wanted to make sure those were available. Um, Go on to the next one for me, Anne. In addition to the last one, Safe Sport, Rain, and Trevor, which are resources, have some great resources for reporting things that have happened and helping you through that. Safe Sport offers a ton of training, which is probably the other branch that they really focus on. They do have training for coaches, gym owners, really lengthy ones for people who are organizing sports. In addition, they have free resources in the Empowered Families section. So they have a parent's guide to misconduct in sports. It's a training for parents of how you can identify and watch for things to keep your young athletes, yours and other young athletes in your community safe. And then I know Brandy and I have done both the Safe Sport for Kids and the Safe Sport for Youth athletes with our own children as they've been coming up through the sport. And it's a really great resource because we want to raise young kids who can advocate for themselves and help keep themselves safe and part of the safety team. And these have been developed to be really age appropriate and approachable for our youth. So We will be sending out this slide deck at the end, and these all have links to the different resources in them for anybody who's going through it. One of the things we're going to be working on is trying to make sure that our families, our gyms, our community are aware of these resources so that people can get the training to feel more empowered and like they have some internal resources while working on these things. One of the things that we had started before this came up was an internal vetting process for the board at USPK. So every USPK board member is undergoing background checks and training like Safe Sport through Anchored. It is a software company that keeps track of people's background trainings, when they've expired, and makes sure that everybody within your organization is up to date on those. In addition, we've partnered with JDP to provide discounted background checks for any gym, whether they are a USPK member or not. We think it's really important that a lot of this starts coming out of the gyms. It is the gyms and coaches that are setting the tone for our young athletes. Um, we think it's also really important that we focus on that level of the gym training because the coaches in the gyms are the ones who are having the day-to-day connection with the youth and are seeing them within the community. You go on to the next one, Anne. So we're going to be promoting the Safe Sport training videos for athletes and parents, and we'll be getting those up on the USPK website and available for everyone. There will also be the link in this. We are working really hard on making sure our board is educated and empowered to take actions and lead by example. So we had a meeting with several of us yesterday. I saw Anne type it up with Amitha Swadin, who runs Mirror Mentors, a nonprofit working to help children be free of sexual violence, and went through a training with, or wasn't really a training, but a conversation, answering some questions and providing resources for us yesterday. Many of us, I think most of the board actually, is getting on a call right after this for the Sports and Entertainment Risk Management Alliance on what matters in youth and athlete safety today. Can I go on to the next one? Again, we have registered the board and our one employee. As Ann mentioned at the beginning, we are an all-volunteer board, and we have one part-time employee, John Lunsford. So all of us have registered through Anchored, and they are running background checks, abuse prevention training, codes of conduct, and certification and renewals. And we see this as a test of things that we can eventually be working out towards the community. What's next? USPK has decided and realized that we need to form a safety task force committee to look internally and externally at the structures that we should be setting up for this process. And Brandy, our newest board member, will be taking the lead on that. So I'm going to throw it over to Brandy.
All right, thank you, Brandy. We got about 10 minutes to go.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you guys for doing that. If you could go, yes, to that one. So again, my name is Brandy Jean, and I'm excited to be the one leading the safety task force and committee. One of the things I'd like to just step back and recognize is that our parkour community is quite different from larger organizational committees that have been in business for a long time, like USA Swimming, USA Climbing, gymnastics, and others. And we recognize immediately that there are gaps between what all of these wonderful organizations have already done for many years and what our community could possibly do. And when these situations came up, what we recognized even more was that there are people who they just aren't going to know exactly what to do when the time comes. We have a unique opportunity to create this task force and hear from our community members on what else can be done. And I really think those things is why we asked you to come. We're looking to close those gaps and define our collective standards. I think this puts us in a very good space to prioritize what our actions are, teach about discernment in making better decisions when we're out in the greater community. We're going to talk about prevention, recognition, and I want this to be like a think tank. So I'm asking you for help in closing the gaps. And it's really easy to point fingers, but it's often harder to come up with solutions. And I'm a definite solutions believer. And I know that this great community has lots of opportunities for us to do better. Um, we need the help of all of those established communities to start our platform with a good baseline. But I know that we probably have more opportunity because we are so close knit. We spend a lot of times together inside and outside of gyms, and our communities run deep, especially out just at large on weekends and in open spaces. So I'm looking forward to leading the Safety Task Force Committee, and I'm looking forward to you helping me by filling out that form that we have with any ideas. And if you would like or feel called to be part of this, I'll be reaching back out to everybody who did participate in that form with interest and get back to you to get on our forum together. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Brandy.
Do you want me to go ahead and do this
Uh,
slide as well now? Or
yeah, that'll work out.
yeah.
Some
So
other
some of
ideas.
the other ideas that we recognized gaps. We had some gaps, like if you are at a gym and you have been let go, that gym's responsibility to report to the board any misconduct that could have happened. We're not. I think what we're trying to say here is we know we are also fallible in some of those areas that we might not have seen. So help us with that lens. And then how can we promote a culture where people can hold their peers accountable in a safe fashion? And that leans back to that discernment rule that we were trying to say is how can we do this with education and setting some baseline rules and standards right up front. Um, we will promote the resources that we have available with Safe Sport. And then obviously with our USPK fiscally sponsored events, we want to make sure that we have mandatory at least one person registered for those sponsored events that are under our anchored umbrella to ensure that we're covering ourselves and have someone available during each one of those events.
Definitely. And an example of a USPK fiscally sponsored event would be like the Women's Parkour movement gathering, another maybe like Obsidian gathering. And so making sure that we do have one person who is organizing to understand and be able to see like different signs and be able to help advocate for folks. All right. Mel, do you want to conclude for us here? I've gone ahead and put this feedback form. I know it's a QR code here, so you'll be able to take a picture with your phone, but I've also dropped it into the link. Mel, you can go ahead and conclude, and I can unmute you.
Thank you. Sorry. I've been trying to do sign language here. I just wanted to point out another thing that we're doing. Just because we believe in the community and the broader community, I actually will be out at the Oslo Movement gathering, and I will be co-hosting a community roundtable on safety and how do we promote a culture where people can hold their peers accountable with Daryl Stingley. So we are also getting out there and trying to make this happen in the broader community. And I'm really excited that we can hold that space and that voice within the community. Um, Again, we are aware that we don't know what we don't know, and that we feel as a community there people have had so many different experiences, been through so many different settings that we think that there are ideas out there that people have been holding, going, "Oh, why don't they do this?" And we want to hear this from you. So we'll be posting. I know Anne posted in the chat a link to the Jot form. We've got the QR code here. It was in the email about it. We're going to be getting it out everywhere we can in front of you. Emily, too late to report depends on the jurisdiction in which you are. It's generally different by where you are. I will say that oftentimes it is still good to report, even if you're late, because again, it creates a paper trail of record in case they start to see signs of repeated behavior by people. And I think that's it. As again, we put a last plug for membership on the last slide. Again, it's a volunteer board with one part-time staff member, so we are making the most we can out of what we have. We want to be able to do things like help support gyms in training for their staff, and the membership is what helps drive that. So, if you are able to to become a member to support us, and I believe is it $30 now, Anne? That's Anyway, it's not too expensive anymore. Used to cost more. But all the dollars help us working towards building out these resources, running a website, bringing on more staff members, which enables us to do more for the community. Um, we can't, thanks, Alan, $35. I was close. Um, just by being here, you are helping, you are showing that you want to be a part of this. And that is what is going to help make this happen in the community. It's people showing up for these discussions and willing to be a part of them to talk and learn. And we can't thank you enough for that. You can always reach out by email to any of us. And especially, again, we would love to hear from you on that Jot form and have you possibly join the safety team. It'll ask on there whether that's something you're interested in.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mel. And thank you everyone again for coming out to listen. We are very much willing and like excited to read all of your feedback, and we can definitely create a follow-up meeting based off of this feedback. But please give us your thoughts, your suggestions, anything that you may think of in that Jot form link. And then shortly after, later today, I'll be sending out another email with this as a recording, along with all of these links and another link to this Jot form. But that'll conclude our community meeting for today. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.